Today I will be reading The Legend of Spookly the Square Pumpkin. It is written by Joe Troina and illustrated by Susan Banta. And the illustrator and author have won many awards in the past. And before I got this book, I didn't realize that they made a movie out of it. And I chose this book because Halloween's coming up really soon. So I thought why not do a Halloween book? Okay, so to start, there's a little CD that I didn't open yet, but it's a CD in the book, and it says, "Dear reader, one Halloween night when my son Nicholas was very young, he asked me to tell him a bedtime story. He didn't want it to be scary. He wanted it to be about pumpkins. The story I made up that night, Spookly the Square Pumpkin, became the book you are about to read. That was many years ago. My son Nick is now grown, and Spookly's story has been read by many children since it was published. The most important copy, of course, is the one you are holding in your hands. I hope you enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed telling it to Nick that Halloween night a long, long time ago." And it was written. So that's the background of how he decided to read this book. The Legend of Spookly the Square Pumpkin. One day, in the pumpkin patch, the strangest little pumpkin hatched. Spookly wasn't like his friends. Where they had curves, he had ends. Spookly was different. He was odd. He was rare. Spookly the Square Pumpkin wasn't round. He was square. Do you ever feel different from everyone else, and how would that make you feel? When the round pumpkins had fun rolling along, poor Spookly sat there shaped all wrong. He tried and tried with all his might, but he couldn't budge. He just sat tight. The other pumpkins teased him because he was square. Spookly wished he was round and could roll everywhere. That is, until one night when they all discovered it's fine to be round when the weather is fair, but there are times it's better to be a square. How would you feel about being the only one left out, not round, or would you like it? Halloween was just a day away when a mighty storm blew across the bay. It tossed the round pumpkins to and fro. It snapped their vines, then off they'd go, bouncing left, slamming right, banging, bashing, what a sight. Spookly sat there filled with fright, but glad to be a square that night. That would be a good thing to be a square so you wouldn't roll. Would you be scared in that situation? Suddenly, the fence gave way. 3 pumpkins rolled out and into the bay. That's a scary situation. Spookly knew what must be done. It was up to him. He was the one. He teetered, he tottered, he tipped, he tried. He finally flipped. He was on his side. Again he tipped, again he flopped, again he flipped, and then, what do you think happened? He stopped right in the gap where the fence had snapped. He blocked the way. The hole was capped. All the pumpkins shouted, "Hooray!" Spookly the Square Pumpkin had saved the day. Then a pumpkin hit him with a whack. He thought his shell would start to crack. Then another one hit him with a thump, and another one with a smack. Then, one by one, a ton of pumpkins piled on the stack. With a bang and a bash, and a crunch and a crash, and then it all went black. Do you think the square is okay, or do you think he's smashed? At dawn, when the storm had stopped, the farmer came out and checked his crop. He picked his pumpkins up, one by one, and laid them out in the warm, dry sun. And when the last was moved away, the farmer could see what had saved the day. An odd-shaped pumpkin, short and dense, was wedged against the broken fence. The farmer is really happy. Would you like saving the day and saving all the pumpkins? Its shell was bruised, its stem was too, but there was brave little Spookly, sitting straight and strong and true. Right then and there, the farmer knew, of all the seeds he'd ever sown, Spookly's were the most special that had ever grown. He's a special pumpkin. What do you think the farmer's gonna do? In the next year, when it was time to sow, it sowed those seeds in every row. He watered and weeded and watched them grow. And oh, the morning about mid-June, when the pumpkin patch began to bloom, there were tiny pumpkins everywhere, hundreds and hundreds, most of them square. All the pumpkins are square. That's so smart. Some were cubes and some were rectangular. Some were flat and others triangular. There was a bed of bright red ones and 2 rows of blue. There were polka dot pumpkins and rainbow ones too. There were thousands of colors and hundreds of shapes. Oh, what a garden variety makes. I love this page because it shows how different all the pumpkins are, and no one's left out because everyone's different. Now, every year in Halloween, Spookly's patch is quite a scene. People come from far and near to see what wonders grew that year. They stop, they gawk, they gaze, they stare. Then they pick a pumpkin that's round, triangular, or perfectly square. Now you know the story of how Spookly grew. Maybe someday you'll tell someone too. And they'll go tell someone who'll go tell another, and maybe one day we will all discover. You can't judge a book or a pumpkin by its cover. I love the ending because of how you can't just judge anyone because everyone is different. And then the back says, one day in the pumpkin patch, the strangest little pumpkin hatched. Spookly, the square pumpkin, was different. All the other pumpkins teased him until Spookly proved that being different can save the day. So, what did you think about this book, and how did it make you feel about the Spookly Square Pumpkin and how he basically saved the day and everyone started being different the next year? Did you enjoy the book? And thank you for listening. I hope y'all enjoyed this book of Spookly the Square Pumpkin.